from the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today I'm very pleased. Joining me from Canada, Ashis Parajuli. Ashis, thank you very much for joining me today. The way I love to do it is I keep it to my guests to introduce themselves because I have a theory. No one can introduce themselves but themselves. So the floor is yours, Ashis.
Yep, thank you. It's my pleasure to see you here, Mehmet, and it's glad to present and glad to talk in the CTO show. It's an interesting show that I'm getting part of it. Yep, thank you. And this is Ashis. I'm founder and CEO at DLytica, which is AI, data science, machine learning, and data and data engineering analytics company. Like we do we provide consulting, and we do also have the big data platform. And basically, I'm working on building the innovation of big data and AI world.
Great, Ashis. Maybe traditional question a little bit, but what inspired you to be in this field and to focus on these nowadays very important aspects: data, cloud, AI?
So definitely, this AI thing is getting kind of boom right now. So everybody you go everywhere. Every organization wants to have AI in their business. They want to leverage AI to boost their boost their basically business with AI, boost their productivity with the AI, or boost their day-to-day cycle with the AI. So basically, this is interesting, and this is so exciting that every organization are feeling that they must be catching up with this game. So I was in the very forefront of this game very long time ago. So it's been around 15 years I'm in this field. Ground up, like I was working and building my career itself into AI and data science. So basically I was very much directed into how I can do the digital transformation through AI and data things. Basically, the goal is to collect the data from different systems and applications within the organization itself, or maybe third-party data sets wherever the customers are like engaging into. So that way we get to know about our customers, we get to know about how our business is operating, get to know about what kind of activities is running through the organization. That way we can leverage the AI, the data to take the decision. So the interesting thing is data-driven decision is something that excites me. And that is what I try to leverage as well in my day-to-day activities. So that's what excites me, and that is where I am, and I'm trying to help the business or the people that they're leading to this journey.
Perfect. Like as I was telling you, Ashis, like this is the hot topic today, and everyone trying to leverage data. Now, you mentioned something that you are driven by, helping customer building solutions, which are mainly we call them data driven because data is the new oil, and actually it's more than oil now. But I'm sure that you see some challenges across both, maybe even startups and enterprise, when they want to implement data-driven solutions today. So tell me about these challenges. Like, what kind of challenges you see in the field, and how do you help them navigate these challenges?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. That reminds me of like the situation where I was working with some of the clients, and they were asking, questions about, hey, I have this idea. I have this idea of building an AI solution. I have an idea of building in this AI use case, but I don't have the idea how to implement it. I don't know. I don't have the resource within the organization, or I don't have the skill sets in my organization, or am I mature enough to implement this? So this kind of question, a lot of questions comes into my area when I start talking to customers. But definitely, like I said, the question, whenever the questions comes in, these questions are like carrying the challenges. So the challenges definitely is the first thing, like I shared, is the skill set or the ideas that organization would like to have. Yes, they do have the data. Right today, I was talking with one other customer. It was a banking, and they have like terabytes of data running in the organization. But right now, their business is not asking most question because they don't expect to, because they are not yet familiar to. And the IT team or the data team, like their IT team was not uh, like was not delivering something that maybe business was asking, and they were not delivering. It's something like data was running in silos, and like the idea is the data was not being leveraged. So like I said, the why it was happening is because of the skill sets. Definitely, they don't know how to bring the data from different platforms or the systems in one place and build a, let's say, customer 360. Let's say, for example, we want to know where the customer is, which demographic the customer is from, or what kind of the activities our customers are doing. Let's say if it's a bank, what kind of transactions the customers is doing. So how often he or she is using the products, banking services, let's say the saving account, credit account, or credit cards, or loan, how often the customers is using it. Or let's say how often or let's say if it's a telecommunication, then like understanding uh, like where the customer is calling, like how often the customer is calling to abroad, or maybe something the customers might not know about roaming service, and he's calling international and getting more charged. And or maybe some of the transactions, like maybe activities of the customers, they interact with our advertisement in, let's say, if a telecommunication is promoting a service or internet service offer, and the customer is interacting through the ads. So now the interesting, what I'm going through is about the like if you go with the customer journey from initial advertisement or initial customer onboarding to the customer day-to-day customer activities, there is data being generated. So it's up to you how you leverage. Let's say, for example, if a customer reacts in your ad, or maybe customer show interest in your ad, that is first data that you receive in your organization. Okay, so let's say now you want to know which product or service the customer might be interested in, or proposing the right product in the right time is maybe the first data driven decision what you have to do. But right now, the major challenge that the organization is having is they don't have the proper platform to do it, first thing. And definitely the skill sets. And the third thing is the vision towards the data. What can be done with the help of data? I think these are the major three areas where I can see the major challenges on. So when they are clear about these things, definitely they should start leveraging the data with the help of right skill sets by using right technology. So tools, maybe process, and technology is something what they need to have in the data itself.
And this is where you come into the picture, I believe, Ashis, right?
Exactly.
Now you mentioned something which it it enlightened a bulb on top of my mind. So you said they know that they have the data, but the problem is, you know, there's too much noise maybe around uh, what can be done with this data, and maybe they are getting involved or driven by different things at the same time. Now, I think the issue, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ashish, like data fragmentation is the major challenge, as you said, and that there's the skill. And you mentioned something about which I believe is where maybe the CTO should play a role here in leveraging this data into business perspective, right? So trying to understand actually what the business would care about, and then see if we have this data and then apply the platform over there. Now, why I'm mentioning this, because majority of the time I'm surprised that actually sometimes, and have you seen or are you still seeing this, customers, they don't know that actually they have this data. Like, have you seen something like this? It's like they're not aware that actually this data exists with them. Have you seen something similar?
That's a very much good question, because you know, like in organization, like data on the top of data, it's something what we call the data glossary. Something definitely people, the organization, most of the organization, like I said earlier, they don't even know what data they have. Like, right, like you said, like it's a major challenge, and they don't know how it can be leveraged or what can be done with this data available in an organization. For instance, um, let's say, for instance, in telecommunication, if they have, let's say, the CDR files, with the help of CDR files, you get to know, okay, where the customers are calling, how much time they're spending in a data, in a call, and if their call is being interrupted in between or not. So sometime, now if business knows, okay, so if I go back to networking systems, that I will be able to get, okay, when the disconnection happens, and what was the network activity while the network disconnection happens. Okay, so I'm going more technical now, but just to go a little bit deep dive, people get it. So what I mean to say here is to find out when the customer is getting disconnected while they're calling. The reason, like, so why I'm taking this problem is because this is one of the major reason why the customer is being churned in the organization, or why the customer is being leaving the telecommunication and going to other example, right? So let's say in that case, like, let's say the business would like to understand, um, maybe in traditional way, what we do is just call the customer and try to understand why they were moving out of the organization, and they might say, because of this, because of that, and so on. But the underlying thing, what I'm trying to say here is, we have the data, and the business self knows the reason. They don't even need to ask the customer. They knows themselves. So what I mean to say is, let's say, if they go to the CDR files, if they go to networking systems, and they get to know, okay, why the customer was when the customer disconnected, why they were disconnected, and what was the reason. Maybe is it because of the server failures, or is it because of the poor networking connectivity, or is it because of something. So maybe we get to know. So let's say, if the business knows themselves, or let's say CTOs would like to explore this kind of, to solve the problem, then they would explore this kind of solutions and find out if they have the data. So definitely, um, there are different departments or different teams that they're handling those. Maybe networking department is handling the networking systems, like the other operational different departments handling their own operational databases or systems. Now, stakeholders gathering is where something that, like, CTO usually gather and try to understand what kind of data they have. Let's say, if they talk to the networking team, they get to know, okay, what really they have. And if they talk to the other operational system database, like the database managers or teams, they get to know what kind of databases they have. And the CTO is really is a is a is an interesting position where, like, that guy should be as a mediator or a liaise between the business and the real technical teams. So he should be able to translate the business acronyms or business requirement to the technicalities, or technical to the business. So that way he get to collect, okay, what is the business problem, and how can I solve, and to solve this problem, where I can find the data. So connecting stakeholders is definitely the CTO's key things that I can say here to tackle that challenge.
Absolutely. And yeah, so because also you mentioned something very important, and I'm relating this to little bit now startups. So in big organizations, probably they have collected a lot of data over the years. Maybe they will still have like some missings here and there, and then of course, they will implement data collection points to get the data. And that's why I keep telling startup founders, like especially because they focus on growth, they focus on customer retention, they focus on a lot of these metrics that people, especially in SaaS business, they like. So I said, like, you need to collect this data early so you can start to take decision early also as well. So because if you don't collect data early enough, you are just dealing with hypotheses, right? So you are just saying, maybe the customer is not liking our UI. Maybe when they are clicking something, there's nothing called maybe, right? It's either yes or no. There's nothing like in between. So that's very important. And thank you for bringing this, Ashis. Now, on the other side, I know that you talk about a movement that you are a fan of, which is moving from vendor locked-in black boxes to open source. Tell me more about this, movement, especially in the field of big data and AI, and why this transition is important for everyone.
I think that's a good topic that definitely I love to help organization to get out of the vendor lock-in situation to the open world. Like the open is something where the innovation comes in. Like something, if it's more vendor locked in, some of the cases, yes, only the certain organization, let's say the Microsoft or only Oracle, only the Amazon, they have the solution. But some of the cases that if the innovation to happen, it's a open source. So when what I mean to say open source, when I'm saying open source, it's free to contribute. It's not something free to. It's a free. Having said that, this definitely it's being contributed by definitely the world. The world is there to solve the problem together. So this is the interesting thing here. So when I say open source, this is this is where the innovation happen. When I was already saying that the innovation should we start happening when they have the open concept. So let's say in organization, most of the organization that I see, Mehmet, is that that they have a platform, but it's a black box to them. So this is really a big challenge. So
that's a big claim. Actually, that's a big claim. Tell me more. Why it's a black box?
Yeah, it's a black box. When I'm saying a black box, like let's say the business wants to do something on the black box. The thing is, the vendor systems, the business, like let's say that a business would need to go back to the vendor, and the vendor who goes to the underlying whoever is developing. Let's say if it's a Microsoft product, Microsoft data platform. Let's say if it's a cloud. Let's say, for example, let me take a Cloudera system. Let's say our organization have a big data platform which is called Cloudera. They would like to do some data analytics and AI. So let's say that they would like to develop some AI or machine learning use cases, but they would like to add more tools that they would like to have, or maybe sometime it depends organization. They would like to add more data sources, or maybe I'd like to add more other third-party different tool, or they would like to add more analytical tool or some AI tools. Then they need to go back to the Cloudera, and the Cloudera need to let's say look back, and they will say, okay, this is in my timeline, because the organization don't know about the platform itself. They know nothing. I mean, they have no luxury to customize the platform because the business doesn't know. So now they ultimately need to tell to the Cloudera, and hey, Cloudera, I need to do something. And what Cloudera says, okay, you can okay, this is an interesting feature. Let me take it to my team, and I'll get back to you. And they say they will check into their timeline, and the timeline should be next quarter or next year, or maybe within 3 years. I mean, some of the features they might have in a roadmap, and they don't allow you to develop. They don't build it for you, just for you quickly. They might be collecting some more feedback from other customers and then building it. So when I'm saying black box, like the black box is something that you don't know how it's built, or that you can customize it. So this is a situation happening even with the Oracle. There are sort of data platform from the Oracle. There are data platform from Hitachi, and there are some other organizations that they have their own big data platform. The thing is, it's a black box. Having said that, you don't have control over. Well, you have to live. You only have luxury to use whatever the tools that they're providing, and the features they are providing. Let's say if you have to add more features or add more requirements or more use cases, then sometimes you might stuck with some specific use cases in your organization that you need. Then you have to ask the vendors, and the vendors ask you to wait for a year or so, which is what's really terrible in the cases. And I've seen, I have worked with so many customers in the Middle East and Asia region and North America region that they're moving away from the vendor locked in situation. Let's say, for example, Cloudera, Oracle, they are removing Cloudera, Oracle, and those systems to the open source world, because ultimately the feature wise, functionality wise, is the same tools. What they are offering is the same packaged and more wrapped version of those solution, and they're giving you no luxury to customize. So this is happening a lot. And other interesting thing is that they are charging so much high subscription cost, yearly cost, that you can't get rid of. Imagine that you have a data analytics initiatives, and you start building use cases. You start using your big data platform. Big data is really used, and you have to scale up going forward with many use cases that you develop. The worst thing is, the more you scale up, the more you have to increase the server, the more you have to increase the resources, and so on. Like ideally, most of the vendors, they charge you per node or per core basis. So having said that, the more compute power that you start increasing, the more prices that you are paying. So most of the organizations are put like getting into this trap. So that I'm trying to help. Like me, there are a lot of people that in the market right now, that they're supporting open source, supporting the like customization of the open source, and then developing them, and then giving them the solution so that the total cost of ownership is low. So if they calculate the total cost of ownership for 5 years, then the TCO with the other vendor systems versus the TCO with the customized open source platform is really high. And not just a TCO, it's also about the innovation. So their team is free to develop that they want to. That the team is free to innovate with some interesting feature, something interesting implementation, or something interesting customization that they can develop. So this is how they foster the. So ideally, the reason I'm taking this word is because most of the corporate world are dependent on vendors. So having said that, the employees, that the technical team that within the organization are mostly, that's the sad part of it, but I was also part of it in the past. That the sad part is that the organization is only dependent on vendor. Having said that, the employees, that the technical team within the organization is just assessing the vendors most of the cases. So that's the worst part of it. That's the sad part of it. But that to break this silo, that they definitely should let or encourage the open source. Yes, Mehmet.
Yeah, Ashish, like this is very interesting. Now, someone, of course, like I don't have a say, for now on this topic, but someone might say, yeah, but these systems, they have been proved in the field for some quite time now. Second thing, the support, because, but I gotta relate to something else now regarding so support. They will worry. Okay, so if we're gonna do, or rely on an open source solution, so we're gonna provide the support for this. Now, of course, another one might say, hey, but this is the same thing that happened with operating systems back in the days. So during the 2000s, when people started to shift or to move away from the proprietary operating systems to more the open source world, like the Red Hats of the world, and the Ubuntu's of the world, which is now runs probably majority of our infrastructure on a global level, this has succeeded. Now, from your perspective, Ashish, do you think we can have the same success? And of course, that doesn't mean that these systems will not be used. And I think you would agree with me. There will still some use cases if the customer knows that they don't have much customization needed and they need something quick out of the box that they can deploy immediately, yeah, probably. But yeah, to your point, if they need some customization, do you think like we have the same situation that we saw when people started to move away from closed proprietary operating systems to now we are living in the in the world of the AIs and the big data? Do you think it's the same thing?
Yeah, I completely agree on that. You really correlate to the interesting concept that was really successful in a time, and this is a synonym to that. So definitely, like you're saying, that you really touched up into one point that there's sometimes organization just need something that they don't care about here and there, or they don't have any implementation expectation in several years. Then they might go with the proprietary system, yes, definitely. But in cases where they would like to have the team to grow, or they would like to have these days, like most of the organization, that they would like to be self-sustained themselves. Definitely, they need to depend on vendor. They need to bring on board the consultants. They need to bring on the IT companies to help them. But they would like to be self-sustained, at least in a way that they understand what they are implementing, and at least they would like to have this platform that they understand, they can control off, not something that it's a black box. Somebody, hey, I will give you a server and just deploy for me, and I don't want to worry about you. You take care of the support, take care of everything. I just need to implement, and sometimes I ask
Right.
you to do things, and you say wait for months. Then that is something blocking most of the organization. But like you were saying, definitely this is also a game changing thing. And even this is happening in a lot of cases, Mehmet. Like something in a bank, there is a open banking concept. So yes, there
Right.
are platform with it, but there are open banking innovation, and there are even in the open source world, even the even Chat GPT and AI things come up. Initially, Chat GPT was being released by the like Elon Musk, let's say. Chat GPT was so popular, but later down the line, that Facebook come in and, hey guys, I mean, you should not be very much limited to ChatGPT, where you have to use the proprietary system and you have to pay the subscription fee monthly. And hey, you can, if you want to develop yourself, why not? And Facebook come up and brought up the LLM Llama 2 model, and now you can
Exactly.
customize it and you can build, right? I mean, this is where the innovation starts.
You just read my mind, Ashis, actually, because I wanted to tell you. And first of all, because here I'm relating to where you started, the skills. So here, where consultants like yourself, and many others will come into the place to implement and support this open source. And because I was about to ask you about the AI, and you mentioned the llamas, and and it looks like even these large language models are going the same way. And probably by the time now we're airing this, it's like early May, and people remember 2 months ago when there was a case, Elon Musk versus OpenAI, and he was asking them to open source actually the LLM, which I think he did for
Yeah,
Grok,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, and actually, he was fun enough. He was telling them you should change your company name from OpenAI to Close AI because. so, so I think yeah, because the thing that the misconception of people about open source, I think, Ashish, like this is the biggest thing that they get wrong, is it's free. I mean, free in a sense that, okay, I just get it. It's not free, actually. You need to support, but the benefit of keeping it open, and again, I'm giving the example of operating systems, because if they didn't have it as an open source, probably, even the platforms we are using today might not existed, right? Because, when these libraries started to be shared everywhere, everyone started to build on top of them something else. So this is for innovation. It's absolutely, something, in my opinion, it should be open. Knowledge should be open, to your point. And the second thing, and here when I will ask you the question. Now, large language models, everyone, these are like the mystery, they are black boxes by themselves as well. Now, are you seeing organizations, and I know this is something not easy. Now, people, don't get me wrong, when I say build an LLM, it's not a small task. LLMs training requires like huge compute power.
Exactly.
Yeah. But again, we started to see, and now with the Nvidias of the world and what Apple and Google trying to do is like even to bring it to the smartphone, these, and they are calling them micro language models.
Yeah.
So tell me, Ashish, what's happening there? Are we going to see each organization that are developing their own language model? I would not call it large, small. I will keep it open size. So tell me more. What is happening on that side?
Yeah, this is in technology world, this is kind of a situation that if you start delving down into something, like for example, instance, LLM we're talking about. So there are hundreds of LLM models right now in the market. That some of them are open, some of them are proprietary, some of them are more mixed bag of them. But in even in the other world, for example, in application world, it was the same thing yesterday. So if you have, let's say, if it's a fintech application, if you want to have a wallet develop, or if it's a bank, if it's a telecommunication, let's say if they have some of the roaming systems and so on. There are some of the systems that in the application world yesterday, it was also the case that if you go in the market and in the Google and try to find out an application, you'll find out something most in some of the interesting projects that you find out hundreds of similar kind of projects, hundreds of similar kind of the tools. The only difference is something a little bit, and maybe some of the platform has some additional features, some of the platform has some more feature, less features, and so on. That you see the market that they're being a uh, like the IT consulting partner to the organization, that we are the one there to select the best out of those tools. Okay, which does feed the right context. So which does feed the right of those tech tools and technology organization have, or which helps to solve their problems. So basically, we are the one there for, and definitely this is one of the challenging in the organization right now. Definitely, this is good that every organization or every individuals or research organization, and they're contributing themselves towards these products and solution in the market, and at least one another, they're bringing something new. and and
Yeah.
and where we come in and we will find out, okay, this is the best suited for you. Okay, you go with this model, you go with this model. And it is something happening in the data engineering world, like we do the data consulting as well. We do have the big data platform and even the open source that we were talking about earlier. So it's not about something that we just plug and play a few open source tools in the market. So there are, like I said, there are thousands of tools having the same features. And need to build a big data platform, you need to have maybe at least 10, 20 different tools together. You have to merge them together to make them work. So we are there to select the best tools out of there in the market and then connect them together to form a platform. We call it a big data platform. Okay, so where you can
Right.
do the data engineering, data analytics, and data science, AI, and machine learning, like even LLM models. Then you can, now the other journey comes in. Now you have to implement LLM models. Okay, so now in the market we go there and try to find out what we don't want to reinvent the wheel, something that's being already built. Definitely we leverage what communities have contributed so far. We just pick up the best out of the best. Okay, or maybe sometimes they don't have everything. I mean, sometimes you have to pick up the one that is more customizable, that is more flexible to implement new feature. And maybe you can in LLM model context that you can that you can train with your data sets. Maybe it's a lighter version that you can train with low resources, right? Or maybe sometime you definitely have to train with higher resource as long as your business permits, sometime depending on business. But definitely we have to select the best models and connect the dots together to form a platform that we call a solution for a business that
Sure.
helps to solve that problem. Um,
Absolutely, Ashish. And just one also point so I don't get misunderstood. So, of course, especially because we target entrepreneurs and founders also. So don't get me wrong when I say about the open source, because still there are many ways you can, you know, built some commercial applications on top of open source. And just to give people an example, again, from not from the OS, I'm gonna give it from the web. So I just fact checked my numbers and I was right. So today, as per the time of recording of this episode, 43% of the websites globally runs on a platform everyone knows called WordPress. Though both WordPress, they make money, of course. I mean, Automatic, which is the main company, and they created an ecosystem of plugins, templates, a lot of things that complement this platform to have something commercial. So when we say open source, and I'm talking here from a pure a little bit entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial perspective, startup perspective, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying when it's open source, it means free. It doesn't mean free. So of course, contribution is, it's like kind of a donation kind of thing, if you want to think about it this way, but you can still commercialize it, and and actually people will pay for it. And just I'm giving example from, we gave the examples from operating systems. It came to my mind, of course, the web. And actually, guess what? And like the programming language, they are by themselves also like open source, and the libraries are open source. Guess what? I find another interesting statistics just now is close to 79% of the websites, they run on PHP and MySQL. And MySQL is, which is data actually, it's a free database, right? It's an open source database, right? So this is why to get that, just so no one misunderstand us, Ashish, like when we say open source, it's actually democratizing the access to the technology, because you mentioned this, being able to integrate it with other solutions out there. Let's say you want to build an API on top of that solution. So you want to feed from, to your point, you gave a lot of examples of the telcos and the banks. So I want to connect my, I don't know, customer experience application, which collects data. I want to connect it with my CRM system somehow. So I need this integration. So that becomes much easy. Unify the data in one single platform. And I think this is what, Ashish, you definitely explained to us very, very well. Now, I want to, ask you, a little bit about the collaboration with the community. Like, it's something I know you also believe in it. So how do you foster, collaboration among startups, enterprises, and tech community to drive innovation? Tell me like a little bit, maybe a story, and then we will we'll be close to finishing.
Yeah, definitely. So the collaboration, it's something definitely. It's an ecosystem. Without an ecosystem, like it never runs, right? So definitely to run the ecosystem, there should be something, a factor that should be propelling this initiatives. For instance, there is an like let's say for instance it's LLM model, right? Llama model. So Facebook initiated it, and they're contributing from the backend with some of the engineers, or maybe there could be some of the other solutions in the market that you see. Even individual is creating an open source project and like living the market. But now it comes to the contribution from the communities. Now communities should be driven by few things. One, usually sometimes the organization themselves, they promote or they support the solution because they feel the value in it. Something big organization that we see. But in general, if we see most of the cases that it's being driven by the community itself when they see the value in the product. Let's say if they see a open source systems, that the open source systems does have a feature which is not available in the other proprietary systems, or it's too expensive to find in the other proprietary systems. Maybe sometime like you touched upon the founders earlier. So let's say not all the founders have initial that much of budget to pay to the SaaS softwares, or maybe to pay to the systems, because sometimes the SaaS softwares like ranging from few bucks to thousands of dollars. Like they would not be able to afford that. Even the big organization like telecommunication bank, that they don't have that much of budget to take into the risk, to go to the platform, right? Sometimes, so this kind of scenario happens. So that's why they would like to do some kind of POCs or proof of concept, or they would like to go in productionization. They would like to customize it and then to go to the production, or they would like to go to the directly to the production with the open source features available. So it's about, it's definitely something, a contribution. It's and also way of giving. Some of the people organization, they just use it and forgot it, but some of the organization, they use it, leverage it, improve it internally, and they would like to contribute back to the community. And some of the cases, like you're saying, propellers, like big giants organizations, sometimes they see interesting feature in the market, they would support the community by contributing some donations, or maybe some events happening, some like making some hackathons and so on. But definitely it's also about the motivation to the end user itself as well, and also motivation to the community contributors, whereas contributors are also motivated enough to contribute to the community, to showcase their skills, to showcase their, because this is a platform to showcase their skills. As like interestingly, a lot of people have gotten their job or gotten their interesting idea while they're contributing to the community projects. But interestingly, while saying that, like when you were touching on the earlier topic, when any customers or any founders, let's say if any founders or any startup founders or any business that they are trying to build the big data platform, it's important to know that these platforms there are some of the platforms in the market that they help them to grow, that they help them to innovate, and that they help them to validate their ideas quickly, rather investing or waiting something into proprietary loop. That is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, this is it's like kind of giving back also as well, kind of collaborating. And this is what I was just mentioning, about democratizing, technology itself, the reach to technology by collaboration. I love this absolutely. Ashis, finally, where people can find more about you and your company.
Yeah, I'm available in LinkedIn most of the time. Ashis first name dash Parajuli in LinkedIn / Ashis Parajuli. Or so ideally, like definitely for more about DLytica, definitely you can find more in www.dlytica.com. The spelling should be on the screen as well. So dlytica.com. They can find my website, and they can find me on LinkedIn. Definitely would love to talk more about how we can like help each other. We have to grow. Ultimately, it's an ecosystem. Here as well, it's an ecosystem. Think about ecosystem, Mehmet. Like when I'm saying something to your viewers here, like it's about, if they come to me and share their problem, and you are helping me, or we are helping us to connect together. It's an ecosystem. See, we are solving each other's problem here. We are contributing, right?
100%.
Right.
100%. This is why this podcast exists, actually. It's to be able to connect. And if you see, our motto is insights, ideas, and innovation. So this is what I aim, is to inspire people, giving them insights, giving them sometimes ideas, connect them with someone who might together work on the next big thing. So this is the whole goal. The goal is making the CTO show a community, I would say, an ecosystem by itself that can connect on a global level. And thank you, Ashish, really for being with me today. By the way, the links you just mentioned, they will be in the show notes, so they don't need to search much. I will make their life easy, so you can find the links in the show notes. And again, Ashish, really, I enjoyed the conversation. Like, these topics are beneficial for everyone, for business, for founders, for everyone, because it's the topic of the of today, and I think it's gonna stay with us for some time now. Data, AI, and big data, especially as well. So these topics are very important, and it's good that you shed some light today with us here today. And this is finally for the audience. If you just discovered this podcast by luck, thank you for passing by. I hope you enjoyed. If you did so, please subscribe. We are available on all podcasting platforms, and don't forget to share with your friends and colleagues. And if you are one of the loyal followers who keep coming and keep sending me their notes, comments, suggestions, thank you very much for doing so. Keep sending them. I read them all. And please also, if you want to suggest anything, don't hesitate. You know where to find me. I'm more active on LinkedIn, so reach out me there. And finally, I repeat this every time, and I was telling Ashis now, this is an open platform. If you have an idea, you want to share it with the rest of the world. If you are up to something interesting, if you want to contribute by sharing your knowledge, it doesn't have to be purely technology. Anything that can help startup founders and people in the tech space to do something better than they are doing today, please don't hesitate. Reach out to me. I would be more than happy to speak to you and see if we can have an episode together. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be again in a new episode very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hit that subscribe button. Share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs. And leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.